Throughout time, people across the world told each other tales of how they came to be, of heroes and monsters, romance and tragedy, death and rebirth. Mythology helped shape the ancient world, explaining the unexplainable. This is Mythology Unleashed. An age-old tale. A just and fair king is slain in cold blood. His killer? His ambitious and cruel brother, who subsequently usurps the throne, and the kingdom is thrown into chaos. Meanwhile, the king's son, the one true king, is sent into exile to grow up strong and return to challenge his wicked uncle for the crown. It is a familiar concept, seen in countless stories, from William Shakespeare's Hamlet to Disney's The Lion King. But one could make the very real argument that the first iteration of this story comes from Egyptian mythology, and the original, displaced crown prince was none other than the falcon god, Horus. The venerated son of Osiris and Isis, Horus, also called Heru, is often depicted in artwork as a strapping young man with the head and occasional wings of a large falcon, or simply as a large falcon with the double crown upon his head. Horus was a powerful sky god, associated primarily with the sun but also with the moon. He was the protector of the royalty of Egypt, avenger of wrongs, defender of order, uniter of Upper and Lower Egypt, and regularly invoked by Egyptian rulers before battle and praised afterwards. Horus's most prominent story in Egyptian mythology comes during the tale of Osiris and his cruel brother Seth. Jealous of his brother, Seth slew Osiris and had scattered his body all across the land of Egypt. As Seth claimed the throne for himself, Osiris's widow, Isis, quested to find the remains of her husband. With aid from other gods, Isis was able to revive Osiris and bring him back to life, but for only one night, as nothing that had died, even a god, could remain in the land of the living. So Osiris and Isis spent their final night together in a warm embrace. And from this embrace, Horus was conceived. Isis endured a difficult pregnancy with an exceptionally long labor, and gave birth to Horus alone in the swamps of the Nile Delta. She hid herself and her son from Seth and his demons, only going out at night for food, accompanied by a bodyguard of 7 scorpions, gifted to her by the goddess Sekhet. While in hiding, Isis, Sekhet, and the goddess Neith raised Horus where the wicked Seth would not find him. Time passed, and Horus grew strong and wise, and he returned to his ancestral home to challenge his uncle for his father's throne. A council of 9 gods called the Ennead were gathered to decide who should succeed Osiris's throne. Horus was the son of the true king, and plenty wise and strong, a capable youth, but perhaps too young and too inexperienced to lord over Egypt. Seth was older and more experienced, and physically the strongest of the gods, the only one capable of battling Apophis when the sun barge travels through the underworld. Yet his cruel and unpredictable nature, coupled with the fact that he had slain his brother, made many of the gods doubtful of his potential as a leader. And so began the contendings of Horus and Seth, a series of challenges to determine who would rule over the world. Numerous different challenges were presented from both parties, some that favored Horus, and others that favored Set. Contests of memory, of wit, and physical prowess, and more than a few hand-to-hand skirmishes, all of which Horus would come out victorious over Set. Whether by his own doing, or with aid from other gods, a testament of order overcoming chaos, of good triumphing over evil. As uncle and nephew battled in the heavens, chaos was loosed upon the world. Storms raged in the desert. Animals fought their own kind. Fish in the rivers devoured one another. And still the gods fought for many lifetimes, as the storytellers said, and the world descended into darkness and disorder. Some say that Set was told to stand down by the Yliade. Others that Isis had tricked him into relinquishing his power. And others that Neith, the mediator of disputes, ruled in favor of Horus. Regardless, at the end of 80 years of conflict, Horus was given the throne of his father, while Set was relegated to a far lesser role. Having defeated Set and restored order, Horus would go on to be known as Horu-Sema-Tawi, the Horus, uniter of the two lands. He reinstated the policies of his parents, rejuvenating the land, and ruled wisely for many, many years. It is for this reason that pharaohs of Egypt, from the first dynastic period onward, had aligned themselves with Horus, and chose a Horus name to rule under at their coronation. Osiris had been the first king of Egypt who established order, and then passed on to the underworld, while Horus was the king who restored that order after it was overturned by Set, and who raised Egypt up from chaos to harmony. The age-old tale of a displaced prince who avenges his father by challenging and defeating his uncle began with Horus, and rang true for the people of ancient Egypt, who saw him and his legendary tale as proof of the power of strength of character, perseverance, divine retribution, and good ultimately triumphing over the powers of evil.